All right, what's up, everybody? I'm having some tech issues, so that is why I'm recording like this. I know I've been doing this past couple of games. I'm gonna try and get back into it for tomorrow night. Uh, wow, I mean, if there's ever a low point of this season, it's hit. I don't know what to say. I mean, Flyers lose 4-2 to Buffalo. I mean, when you look in the grand scheme of things, right? There's two ways you can look at this. You make the playoffs, get in, you have a successful season because you made the playoffs. And a lot of things have gone right this year. There's four things to me that have changed. The room, clearly, the vibes have been good. The boys seem very tight. Number two, the all nice play. It's gotten better. They're not the greatest team, but it's certainly gotten better. Number three, fans care again. Obviously, we're into it every game. It's been fun to watch. There's good moments, all that. Number four, ticket sales up. The ticket sales are up. Fans have been going to games. They've had good attendance all year. It's four things. Four things that the Flyers have had for most of the season, and you've been able to see improvements in all those areas. To me, those were the four things that the Flyers needed to fix before they let go John Tortorella. I am at the point now where I'm starting to wonder if the whole John Tortorella message and the standard and the whole thing has gone. Because in the most important part of their season, they're suddenly falling apart. Now, everyone has said off ice that this is the Torts team and he can do this and he can get teams back and the whole thing. And I'm not blaming all this on Torts because, you need certain guys to step up and they just haven't. But you can't blame this on Fatov. I'll say that right now. Unfortunately, the Flyers have had the worst goaltending save percentage as a team since January 20th. Carter Hart's last game in the NHL, probably his last NHL game of his career. For obvious reasons that I don't need to tell you. When you look at this and you look at kind of where this team is at, I see a team that is generating a ton of chances. Power play, still bad. Not scoring. Not really generating much of a look at any time. I saw a lot of 1,000-yard stares on the bench. Like, just guys that just... Not that I think they're out of it. Not that I think it's just... But it's just like that moment of just like... And it's like... It's the point of the season where you can't have that. And unfortunately, it feels like every bounce is not going the Flyers' way. And 6-game losing streak. Still in the playoff spot, somehow. Because no one in the East wants to take advantage of it. And the Islanders are now in third. Flyers are now in the second wild card. Tampa clinched. So Tampa's in. It's just, I think, a matter of seeding at this point for them in Toronto. I know it's a little tighter gap there. Look, I don't care how the Flyers get in, but they have to get in. You can't go this far into a season and just not get in. Like, I think the other second way to look at this is that, yeah, they're not really there yet. And clearly they're not. Like, they're in the most important stretch of the season, they're not getting it done. And when you need wins and you need points, points are everything, and you need them right now, and you're not getting them. I mean, this was 4-game stretch. Montreal, Chicago, the Islanders, and Buffalo, and you've gotten 1 point out of it. Out of 8. 1. It's not good enough at all. I mean, if you win 2 of those games, all right, you got a little bit of breathing room. They have absolutely no breathing room. Thank God the Capitals and the Red Wings keep losing, because if that weren't the case, the Flyers wouldn't even be in right now. And they probably would have been done if those teams kept winning. The best way to end this, you have 5 games left, and they're all winnable games. That's the best part about this, honestly. It's a classic Flyers moment, because the teams that around like 16 and 18 and 14 and 15, that era, 17, whatever, that was like 4 or 5 years. those teams had a great stretch of always being not great in the middle of the pack, always finding ways to beat Pittsburgh and Boston and the Rangers and all the top teams in the league, Tampa Bay, Chicago, whatever. They beat those teams, and then against games like Buffalo at the time, the Oilers, the Coyotes, all the teams that absolutely sucked in the NHL, completely would fall apart and lose those games. Completely lose them. And look, obviously we know the Flyers aren't supposed to be there yet. They're not supposed to be that team. But to play that far into a season, have so many guys step up, and all these things, and then just that's it? Like, the season's done now? Like, it's like you got games against Buffalo and Montreal and the Island. Like, the Islanders are not that good of a team. And Chicago, I mean, you got to win those games. You have to. Like, it's valuable points that, and the Flyers unfortunately have had a lot of stretches this year where they've had some wins, but they've had some pretty long, like at least 4 or 5 game losing streaks that have really added up, and this one's a 6. Like, they had the 5 game before the All-Star break. They had one earlier in the season. They had, I think, one around in the middle of March or something like that. There was, like, I think a 3 or a 4. I mean, they need a win bad, obviously. I mean, every game looks like a must-win at this point. You know, if the Flyers win 3 of these next 5, they could make it. I honestly am starting to think it's going to come down to that last game of the year against Washington. And the best part is that the Flyers didn't play bad tonight. The problem was Fatov, who comes in and plays his first NHL start, and you know, unfortunately he didn't look too great. And that's not something I'm going to sit here and be negative about. It's his first start in the NHL. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they did the same thing that they did in front of Erson. And the problem is neither one of these goaltenders are ready to take a step, just like the team, to be an actual starter. And the Flyers are leaving them out to dry. And it's a combination of both things. It's a bad goals by the goaltender, and it's bad defense by the forward and defenseman and whoever. Watch the Sabres' second and third goal. It's the same pairing, Sanheim and York, that instead of collapsing on the forward that's high in the slot in the middle, they're just standing with their sticks out like this, and it's 2 guys here and 1 guy here, and the puck's already right past Fatov. And there's nothing you can do. It seemed like the Sabres had him high blocker. There was 2 goals, high blocker. 4th one was a bad rebound. Flyers that got right into it with Tippett, and I know that was a career high. But on the flip side of things, the Flyers didn't play bad in this game. Like, they had chances from pretty much everyone. I mean, that's the frustrating part of it, is that there are some guys that have been struggling, right, and haven't necessarily been putting up points, but also guys like, you know, Cates, who gets 2, you know, he's got 2 goals in 2 games now, and you know, Tippett gets 1, and it's just bigger. They're getting some big goals at big times, but they're just, unfortunately, they can't get a bounce. And the power play's killing them. I mean, we knew it was going to kill them at some point, but I mean, to go this far into a season, and I don't even want to sound that depressive, because they're still in a playoff spot. I mean, they could still make it, yeah, but it's just like the worst way to go into the playoffs. It's like, dude, just take it by the horns and get in, like. And that is the frustrating part of it, is just that they can't seem to get over the hump, and that's the frustrating thing, because I just don't see the same swagger that they had. I just don't see it, and that's what worries me, is like, you got 5 games left. Like, I don't want them to end the season on an 11-game losing streak, but like, it could genuinely be that. It doesn't look like that same swagger, and I don't know if I don't know. It looks like the Tortorella stuff is done, in my opinion. I can't see them. I'm not saying that they're going to fire Tortorella. I just feel like they honestly just look checked out from everything that's happened. And I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you know, that's all on Tortorella, but at the same time, it's like, you know, he said the other day in practice, it follows him around. Like, it follows you around for a reason, I feel like. And, you know, I don't really know, like, what else to say. Like, you can only do so much with such a roster that isn't as talented, right? Because the Flyers, they don't have the high-end talent. But that's not to sit there and say that they can't make it or not get in, or, you know, could they be a second wild card? Yeah, for sure. And do I think they are better than some of those teams? Of course. But, you know, it's just like, tomorrow is a huge game. Columbus, I mean, it's the Blue Jackets. It really should be a win. I think they have a goaltender that's starting in his first NHL game, and on paper it looks like a win. But the Flyers have to go out there and earn it. And I mean, if they play like they did tonight, they should have no problem. I didn't think they were bad tonight. It's just they just can't they can't buy a clutch moment. They just can't. Like, you got one with Frost and then the play in overtime. It's like they just cannot buy a clutch moment from anyone. And that's what the high-end talent is there for, is to be clutch. So, I don't know. Again, I really do apologize about the tech stuff. I'm trying to work through it. I'm going to be having some pretty cool content if they do make the playoffs, so stay tuned. And yeah, no, seriously, thanks everybody again for all the support as always. My name is Chris, and we'll talk to you all again soon. See you guys.